What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Damon.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Ho, 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 and a welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WTR the show, and we are the dive bar of the IWC, right back here for a brand new episode 1 with ya boys, the Iconics.
I thought
Still
it was
doesn't sit well.
Was it the Iconics or the Ironics?
It's the Ironics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said Iconics.
Yeah,
You did say Iconics. Yeah.
It's in the heat of the moment. You know, it's only episode 1. No big deal. Everybody relax. And with us, as per usual, the Beard. Say hello, Sports Beard.
Hey guys.
Let's start with something simple, and then we're gonna get into the what the Beard wants to know. We're gonna start off a little bit with what's in your glass. I'll start with Beard, actually. What do you got there?
I got 2 things. I have some Rockstar recovery.
Nice.
And I have once again, I want these guys to become a sponsor for us. Liquid Death.
Yeah.
Just water in a can. That's all it is.
Yeah. Clump loves
A hell
Liquid
of a-
Death as well.
A hell of a concept.
Yeah,
Water in
so
a can.
smart.
I just imagine they're in a board meeting and they're like, fuck, I only can get water in bottles. Is that just me? Or is like no one else? Like, I just want a can.
Cans are way easier to recycle. Right? So why don't you put the water in a can first?
Cans are way harder to burn.
Yeah, you shouldn't be burning plastic bottles.
Gets rid of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's really bad for the environment. I'll just say it.
Well, it's good for my trash load.
I was gonna
Most
say,
of the garbage I
do you-
have, I'm setting on fire. What was that,
Yeah,
Kev?
like Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Whoa!
Whoa.
Didn't
Shots fired.
Shots
Let's
fired.
Security.
Kev, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Sun's Brew from Four Peaks. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to the Phoenix Suns.
That's different. Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
The other one was the Four Peaks had that Cardinal one.
Yep.
And now they got a Suns one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm a sucker. They got me. They hooked
I
me.
think the Suns, they
Orchids.
got a good shot this year, right? They could win it. You think they could win it?
I hope so.
That would be cool for those fans, man.
Yes.
There's
I went
none
to.
left.
Yeah.
There's
I-
none
well,
left. What about the
it was
Suns
hard.
and 4 guy?
I mean, I do the overnight thing, but I went to Game 5, and then flew out to Milwaukee a couple days after they clinched, or the day after they clinched, and oh god, that was hell. That was a living hell for me.
I was actually going to talk about it. We don't need to do it in the specific order because it's topical right now. I just imagined you throwing your fucking phone during Raw when they were talking about how they were in Milwaukee and called them national champions and showed the Bucks with the fucking trophy.
Oh yeah, the world champions. I was like, here we go, starting all over again.
Right, but
like,
do you
let
feel
it rest. Give
Do
it a
you
rest.
feel like the Suns choked or just Milwaukee played better? Because I feel like
I
being
think Giannis fucking cried and got his ass to the line fucking 58 times a game.
but I thought he was terrible at shooting free throws. So
Except for in the finals, that's why he got finals MVP. He shot like
Oh.
85%. It was fucking
Okay.
ridiculous.
okay.
Do you think that he's been
But
faking
no, I
it the
do-
whole time to set up so he could get those shots at the playoff?
No.
Yes.
Oh my god, dude. And
Sandbagging
Marsh,
it.
this guy is a Greek immigrant, right? Who was not like they knew nothing about him when he got drafted. People were like, they didn't know how to say his name, and he's basically become the best player in the NBA. So
They still
I mean,
don't know how to say his name.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
So,
little sour grapes.
I'm
Little
gonna
sour
send Marsh
grapes.
his actual last name and see if Marsh can pronounce it.
You're
Yeah,
gonna spell
little
it?
sour grapes from Kev, I think, because
No, I'm gonna
because I think
text
if
it
the
to you right
Bucks
now.
had played anybody else in the finals, you probably would have rooted for him, right? If the Suns
Probably.
If the Lakers, the team I grew up rooting for, my grandma was a huge Lakers fan.
Oh, fuck the Lakers. I can't stand those.
So like if the
dirt
Lakers
bags.
were in the finals, you would have been the biggest Bucks fan ever. So
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. If it was pretty much anyone besides
yeah, Phoenix.
yeah,
Right, yeah.
I probably would have rooted for the Bucks. Like they're a hard team to hate. As much as I give them
Yeah.
shit just because they beat us, like they don't have like the douchebags on their teams. You know what I mean? Giannis
Yeah, yeah.
is a solid
Yeah. He's a super class
player.
guy.
He's always giving away his shoes and jerseys to kids after the games and stuff. Like
Oh, I've seen little
no
clips of that,
complaints
yeah.
about him.
He's like Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Super nice outside of the ring.
Yeah. Get him on the
Except-
court and he's a fucking asshole.
He's different than CM Punk though, because he gives them real good sneakers, and CM Punk gives those fake mids from Payless.
What? Does he really hand out fake shoes?
I mean, they weren't the shoes that he wanted people to think they were. However, let's see. So I got
Jordan ones?
No,
Jordan
well,
one?
yeah, but they were like the Foot Locker version that were mids. They weren't the high tops. And
Not
he
Foot Locker.
yeah, they're Foot
Foot
Locker.
Locker
Yeah.
has legit shoes.
No, yeah, no, they were like $100
Famous footwear.
shoes. They were like
them.
$100 shoes, but they weren't the $1,000 shoes that everyone thought they were. Because he went on a show, and not Sam Wrestling is actually breaks this whole thing down way better. But ultimately, CM Punk went on this whole show about how he really wanted these Jordans, and they were an important pair. He gets them, he spends like $1,000 on them, and then the next week he's on Dynamite and gives shoes that look very, very similar to a kid in the audience. People said, "Oh my God, it's those shoes." But Sam is a shoe guy and was all like, no, the toe's the wrong color. They're not as tall. Like, this isn't the same shoe. This is a $100 Foot Locker shoe. This isn't a $1,000 retro shoe. Either way. If I had to try and pronounce this guy's name, it's Giannis. I would say, give me 1 second.
First name's Giannis.
I would say Antetokounmpo.
Atentakumpo, I think, is close.
Yeah.
I think
It's
Giannis Atentakumpo. I think is as close as I'm getting it.
'Cause I knew a
He's
Greek
got-
guy that we called Ante that had a similar beginning. Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he actually's got two brothers that play in the league as well.
Yeah,
that's cool.
but they grew up like very impoverished on the streets of like Greece, who
Let's
don't
rein
really.
Rein
You
it back
know,
in.
Yeah.
So I'm having in my glass. I'm having a little Sailor Jerry's
Sorry.
with some pumpkin pie Trader Joe's ginger brew, sparkling beverage. I was all excited, and then I saw it's non-alcoholic, so now I got to put some Sailor Jerry's in it.
Like a spiced pumpkin.
It's gonna be spiced pumpkin.
What? It's a non-alcoholic brew.
Dude,
But
see?
you bought it at- But you bought it at a liquor store? Who would drink that?
A non-alcoholic brew? That's what I'm saying. Well,
Well, no, but
And you're willing to drink pumpkin crap?
yes, always.
that's what I'm
Anything
saying.
pumpkin.
Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like it would have to be alcoholic for me to want to try it. That's
Kev, real quick question on the Sun's brew. What kind of beer is it? Is it like a
It's a
blonde?
Kolsch style.
Kolsch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a German lager.
Yeah.
All right.
Kolsch. It's a good beer.
Well,
It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of that in between IPA and just like a pale ale.
wait, you've had the Sun's brew?
Well, I've had Kolsch style beer.
Oh yeah, well me too. Yeah. I thought the way you said it sounded so matter of fact about that one. I was like, wait, do they have Sun's brew up there? I was like, oh shit.
I probably could get it.
We're spreading the brand.
Yeah, getting the word out.
Alaska's a big Suns state.
Yeah, they're big on the Suns.
Well,
Well, let's get into it. Let's
You guys
get into it. Let's do a little bit of what the beard wants to know. You got a list there. We went over. What do you got?
well, do we want to talk? What do we want to talk about first?
Whichever one you want to
What I-
do first. I thought they all. I don't think any of those bleed into each other.
Well, why don't you? So I wanted to know about house shows and what they are, and I think this spurned kind of from Jeff Hardy getting released, and he was performing at a house show, and I was like, what is exactly a house show? For those of us that don't know, like I've not been to one, I wasn't familiar with the concept of them. It makes sense, but why don't you guys explain to me what a house show is? especially in the confines of the WWE.
Well, with the WWE, they now call them live events. It's a weird trick. So sometimes you'll see like tickets for a live event, but you won't see a ticket for a house show out there, right? So if you see WWE Live is coming to town, you know it's not a WWE Smackdown, Raw, or pay-per-view. It's a live event. It means it's not going to be televised. Some of it is not even recorded. Sometimes it's recorded for social media purposes. But ultimately, it is a place for the talent to get in front of smaller crowds, to be a little bit more loose and to work stuff out. A lot of times, like, what was it? The one a couple years back that we went to, the main event was AJ versus Samoa Joe, and they hadn't had a match, but they were in a rivalry. And so the idea being that they were going to work through that match and figure out how it's going to go by running all these non-televised events. And then when they get to the pay-per-view, they're going to be the practice. They're going to get more comfortable with each other. And they're affordable. They're usually a lot more affordable. Kev, you want to chime in anything?
Oh, I thought producer said they're horrible. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a practice. It's a live run, basically in front of a crowd, seeing how crowd reacts to certain things. And a lot of times, you know, you'll hear of people doing something on a house show or a live event and then saying, hey, the crowd popped. I'm going to try it in front of, you know, Raw or SmackDown or whatever brand they're on. And a lot of times that's because isn't that how Drew got his Claymore?
Well, I know the Claymore had to do with the pants. You might be thinking more specifically of The Rock. The people's elbows spurned from him just goofing off in front of the house shows. That's the other thing, too, is there's a lot less tension out there. You don't have to be as on the ball. There's no TV marks. So the wrestlers are a lot more inclined to do things to make each other laugh, to make the ref laugh, to make the crowd laugh. They'll talk to the crowd. They just straight up turn around and say stuff to the crowd.
Depending if they're a heel or a face, like, shut up, you're supposed to boo him, you know, stuff like that. And it's,
Titus
to
O'Neil
me,
go ahead.
I was going to say, it shows a lot more of the star's personality a lot of the time.
Yes.
So that was a question on that in that lines. Do they carry storylines through those shows, or is it just basically a blank slate for them to do whatever they want?
They
go ahead, Cliff. Go ahead.
They had. Did you just call me Clev?
Probably.
Like Clump and Kev mixed together. Gosh.
Yeah, it's just how it is today, man. It's only episode 1. I'm still learning everyone's names.
Yeah.
He's
We
drinking
need a new
non-alcoholic
host.
spiced pumpkin stuff, so
Pumpkin's going straight to my head.
It's going straight
But,
to my head, man.
fuck, I forgot what I was going to say.
I
About
asked you about
the storylines.
specifically, like, do they run storylines?
So they stay within the confines of the storyline. Like,
Yeah.
the talent would still be the same, but they don't necessarily like go forward with the storyline any.
Typically, but not exclusively. There have been times where certain titles have changed hands. Most famously, Bret Hart won his first world championship off of Ric Flair at a non-televised event in Canada, and then came back to the U.S. Kevin Owens won the U.S.
At a
title.
Madison Square,
I heard there's
AJ
an
Styles
MSG.
has. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Bear.
So that's a big venue too, though. Like to do an MSG house show, which I think they have one on the 26th of December. I saw.
Yes.
Yeah. So do they carry storylines through then?
It's like he said, they stay within the confines. Like if Becky and Charlotte are arguing on TV all the time, you're going to have a match of Becky and Charlotte. You're not going to have them in a tag team together. You know what I mean? Like they live within the confines of the storyline, but they typically don't progress it majorly. Like you're not going to see a bunch of promos. You're not going to see Liv Morgan cut a promo on Becky and then go to the back and not come back out for the rest of the show. Like you might have some banter, but yeah, it's not going to be a major plot point. You're not going to have a tag team breakup on a house show typically, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of times they'll I don't want to say recycle because that sounds bad, but they'll do like the same thing. Like if Becky and Liv are at a house show, Becky might injure Liv's arm again or further, you know, and I think it just, for the people in the audience, you know, it makes them think, hey, her arm's still hurt. I saw her get injured again, you know?
It can help further the storyline. In the YouTube chat, Scarlet Begonia, Scar B says, that sounded disgusting until you said spice pumpkin.
Hell yeah. My man. Hell yeah. Anything spice pumpkin in and around my mouth. Literally anything. Put some pumpkin spice on it, dip it in. You know?
No.
So does that, do you feel like, I feel like I got a pretty handsome answer as far as house shows and have a pretty good understanding about them. If you guys want to,
And
okay.
And yeah, I'll just finish it up with like just being there. Sometimes like if you're front row, second row, that's actually talent will come around and sign stuff for people, take selfies with people where they can't necessarily do it on TV. I've had wrestlers scream stuff from the ring at me. Like it's a lot more intimate.
Yeah, but
and a
the
lot
things
more
you were calling them.
Did you guys go to a house show together? Have you guys gone
We've been
to
to a couple together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
they're,
also,
they're a
what
lot of fun.
Marsh was going to say is, I don't know if you're familiar with Titus O'Neil. He's, what, damn near 7 foot.
Yeah.
And there was, I think, a 4-on-4 match.
Yep.
And he was with the Lucha House Party, which I don't know if you're familiar with them either, but they're a bunch of, luchas and masks on and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and Titus
are they
O'Neil,
in AEW now?
No, they've appeared, but they're not
Kalisto
signed.
is. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Kalisto's on Impact, right?
I don't know where he's at. I think
Yeah.
they're on
But
triple.
I've
anyways-
heard of them though, but not Titus. Sorry.
So Titus O'Neil, he does a lot of the charity work. When you see like an ambassador, a lot of times it's Titus O'Neil. Like this big dude, like I said, he's damn near 7 foot tall. But anyway, he came out with his own lucha mask on and was, hyping up the crowd like the luchas and stuff like that. It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
cool.
I was doing the Titus thing and going woo 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 or like woof or whatever it was. I forget woo woo, and then Drew Gulak turns
that's
around.
Zack Ryder.
Yeah, and woo woo woo, and then Drew Gulak turned around and he goes, "You know, you look like an absolute idiot doing that." And I was like, "Yeah, but he's right there. I like him." And he's just like looking at me, so like, "So what?" Like, and I was like, "Ah, sorry, you're right, man." Like it was just a little back and forth,
Well, then one caveat too, from what you guys have told me, just recently learning about these things, is it sounds like the wrestlers themselves have a lot more creative freedom, so they can have a lot more fun, and it's not as stressful. So they probably are way more relaxed, and therefore the performances are probably sometimes better than like the live stuff.
Yes, one of the best matches I've ever seen Roman Reigns have was against Eric Rowan in a no holds barred street fight in a house show. It was non-televised. No one saw it. And at the time, I didn't like Roman Reigns at all. And I thought his matches were boring. And I was like, what is going on? And then I saw that match and I went, oh, shit, this guy is really good at this. And he just doesn't do it on TV. He's more relaxed and can put on a bigger show for the crowd here. Like, it was crazy.
And then, we talked about it earlier, that Samoa Joe AJ Styles match. That match was awesome.
So good.
Watching that one at the house show, yeah, it was amazing.
Cesaro
Samoa Joe and
Ricochet?
who?
Oh, Samoa Joe and AJ Styles.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And then I remember the Ricochet versus Cesaro. So good.
Yeah.
And I still think about it too, because Ricochet and Cesaro lock up, and Cesaro shoves Ricochet back, and he just screams, "Oh my God, he's so strong!" He just made the whole crowd laugh. He screamed so loud. It's just fun stuff, just fun. But yeah, not televised, and typically not impactful on the storyline. But that doesn't mean exclusively, and doesn't mean nothing ever happens. But more often than not, if you're going to a house show, you're not going to see a title change, and you're not going to see a big turn. You're just going to have a fun time with whoever's there.
Do they come out with the titles if they have them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time everything's the same. The entrance is obviously a lot smaller,
Yes.
and
There's no pyro.
Yeah, I was gonna say no pyro, but the music plays, everything. Yeah, everything's pretty close to on point, and
It's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't have a concept of it, so I'm sure I could have like watched a YouTube video of somebody experiencing a house show, but I wanted to ask your opinions on it.
Some of the little videos you see floating about are from house shows. Like you might have even seen it the other day where they had one of Roman Reigns where they said, "I loved you in Aquaman," and he turned around and said it would have made more money if it had me in it. That was at a house show. or when KO re-signed, he had Roman Reigns in a headlock, and he was screaming to someone in the front of the fan. He said, "I made more money in merch this month than you'll make all year." And he goes, "Seriously, it was $35K was my check. What do you guys make? Like 29 maybe?" And Roman is in the headlock, just covering his face because he's laughing. Like, that was at a house show.
Yeah. No, I did see something that it might have been a big match, like Roman Reigns or something. I didn't see a video, but I saw a story about it, and that's what made me go, I need to ask these guys about house shows, because I thought the house shows were like, the wrestlers you don't see on TV, those are the guys that are on the house shows. But you're saying like Roman Reigns, all these big names are doing house shows all the time. I'm assuming.
I was gonna say we saw Randy Orton, and we were actually kind of surprised by that because we thought he was on more of a televised only type of thing. But you'll have the big names. You won't have the Brock Lesnar's or Goldbergs and stuff like that. But pretty much the rest of the roster outside of the, I don't want to say the part timers, but the part timers, are there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then it's also cool because you see a lot of the guys that are normally backstage, they're more, prevalent being there.
Mm-hmm.
Like Arn Anderson was constantly walking around, and he was, he used to do a lot of backstage stuff with WWE. Off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank on who else I saw that it's like, oh shit, that, there's that guy. And
Dean Malenko. But also
Dean Malenko.
Yeah, they used to do a lot more house shows, because they used to do their televised once a week, but they would do 3 days in a row of house shows. They did have a big roster of people you never saw on TV who would be there, but now they've reduced the amount of house shows.
Right.
That's, I think, one of the reasons why they've let go a lot of people who weren't on TV to begin with. But yeah, we can go on to the next point though.
Yeah, Devi says Kofi Kingston, Master Capoeira, Shinsuke Nakamura, Val Tudo, and Bryan Danielson, Master of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, most talented wrestlers of today's pro wrestling. I think he's pointing out that they have like martial arts backgrounds in those fields.
Sure.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever, he or she, sorry, not sure. Thing there.
I wouldn't argue that they're not the best. I mean, I love all three of those guys.
I should get you to make me a moderator so I can block like spam and stuff.
The bots. Yeah.
Yeah, for the YouTube comments, because we almost invariably we get some weird one.
Yeah.
So
I saw about your car's extended warranty.
No, they put up a fake link that sends you to bad porn, not even good stuff.
Oh, it's not even good porn.
It's not even good porn.
Rikishi wants. By the way, I wanted to ask this in this one. Rikishi wants Umaga in the WWE Hall of Fame. Is Rikishi in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Big in the Attitude Era, I remembered. What, you guys have any thoughts or opinions about Umaga being in the Hall of Fame? I didn't see him wrestle.
I mean, I liked him. He was a beast. He was, he was great. He just another one of the guys just gone before his time. And I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they put him in. But, no, yeah, I would say yes. He belongs.
He probably
got the Bushwhackers and Coco Beware.
Yeah. When you think about the other people who've made it in, it's hard to say that he doesn't belong. But I would say that I think what Kev was getting at is for guys like us who didn't watch everything he ever did and have seen a lot of stuff in hindsight, you can't really point to a ton of major milestones. You just can point to a bunch of really cool matches and storylines. He did some cool shit with John Cena. He was the wrestler who was in there with Bobby Lashley when they did the billionaire versus billionaire, Trump versus McMahon thing. So he had some big moments, but it's a little harder for us to be all like we can't rattle off a bunch of things. We can't say like, 15 times this and, won this many things. And like the accolades aren't as prevalent as his skill was, you know what I mean?
I knew he won the IC title a couple times, and
yeah,
I don't know about the tag titles. Yeah. He might have won them, but yeah, I mean,
but he was badass, scary.
Yeah, I mean, I think with him, the potential was there, and like I said, just gone before his time. So
yeah, he died of a heart attack. in the ring or due to there was drugs related to his heart attack. I know. It sounds like that was part of it. Yeah. Rest in peace, Umaga.
100%. I wouldn't argue if they put him in for a second.
Speaking of that, did you hear about that story of they were gonna fire Rikishi? The whole reason why they got Umaga, there was I saw this interview with Rikishi, and he said that supposedly they were gonna fire him, and they called Rikishi into Vince's office, and Umaga, Rosie, and there was one other guy, I forgot who it was.
It was like Alpha or something. It was their dad.
It was Alpha. Yeah, went into the office with Rikishi, and they all left. And somebody asked, they're like, "Oh, how do you take his firing?" And he goes, "I didn't fire him, but I signed the other two."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
Somebody's in there gonna lose his job, and he ended up creating 2 careers.
Yeah, it was dope. It's awesome. Yeah, I think that but absolutely, put him in. Like, there's no reason to.
I mean, if the Miz is getting in, why not? Just let everyone in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is the Miz getting in?
No.
He's campaigning. He's campaigning to get in.
He will get in eventually. Like, he deserves it. He's got the accolades. But yeah, that video package that he had I liked it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that storyline. Like, that's funny. So I think Kev wasn't on the show. We did the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. That was Justin. But we talked. I don't remember which wrestlers came out and said, but The Rock came out with his Mount Rushmore, and I can't find the list, but I remember the first 2. He has Ric Flair on there. He has Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I thought was, and then he had a third. Well, I'll find the list.
Kev, I mean, I was talking about it later too. I was going to say something about it too, that I was going to go back through and ask you which ones I had, if you still had it written down, because I was going to boot someone and put Becky Lynch on it, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, nah, we need to have a woman on that Mount Rushmore, and Becky's as big as it gets. But Kev, do you want to postulate a Mount Rushmore while he finds the list?
Well, I have the list.
Oh,
I'll give you the rest of the list.
All right, let's get it.
I'm sorry about that, Kev.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and then he caveats. He named their real names, but he said Gorgeous George / Bruno Sammartino and Steve Austin. That's what he had on his thing. But they actually named, I think, the original names. I'm sorry if I cut you off there. I think originally they gave Gorgeous George's birth name. And I think Bruno Sammartino is not the name I read either. So they might have gave his birth name too. Because I was like, okay, I don't know who the other. Because I thought he named Pat Patterson one of them. So I don't know.
I'm always against the Mount Rushmores.
Yeah.
Just like the argument with, greatest basketball player. Because there's different eras.
Yeah.
If you ask me, hey, who's the 4 Mount Rushmore from Attitude Era? Cool. I could probably do that. Who's this? Who's that? Yeah, cool. But to name 4 out of all times, like, different styles, different eras, like, it's tough to limit it to 4.
Well, The Rock didn't even name 4.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't feel like it. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think that we just use the Mount Rushmore thing because, like the BR wrestling did a drop your Mount Rushmore. I think that's how we got on the conversation. And they put Ric Flair, The Rock, Taker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I wouldn't deny it. Justin had AJ Styles in his, which I was even telling Marsh, like, oh, man, that made me really go back and learn about him a little bit.
Oh yeah, I was like, I think, weren't you watching that Rumble when AJ appeared over here at my place? And I remember being so excited that AJ came out because I remember him from TNA and back in the day, and I think I was watching it with Marsh, and he's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "It's fucking AJ Styles! Holy shit! Like, this dude's awesome, you know." But like I said, different eras, different times, like because I can't take off like Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, even Hogan, like 3 of my favorites. Like I can't take them, you know, head to head with, you know, The Rock, Austin, Taker. Like like I said, if you ask me a different like each era to do 4, okay, I could do that. But 4 all time, nope, don't want any part of it.
Yeah. So the way that I had approached it, and I even talked about it, is that I think that, like, for one, I would need a better understanding of the actual Mount Rushmore on why those 4 presidents were decided on, right? Because were those 4 presidents actually decided because they were the best 4 presidents of all time, or was there something else? I don't know. But I approached it as more of the my 4 personal favorites. Like, are these the greatest of all time to ever do it ever? Maybe not. But are they the most 4 important to the history of the business ever? Probably not. But are they 4 the biggest reasons why I've watched wrestling for as much as I have? Yes. These are my 4 of my top personals, and I kind of left it in that regard. That's why I think I had Mankind and Bret Hart on mine, because like these were 2 massive figures on why I watch. You know?
Yeah. If I was to pick 4 personal ones, I think it would be.
It'd be tough for you.
Just off the top of my head, thinking about it, I think it'd be Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Sting, and Warrior or Macho Man. It'd be fucking close.
Yeah.
They'd have to have a fight. Steel cage match. Winner gets on my Mount Rushmore.
I just watched the Untold Sting thing on WWE thing, and I always liked him, man. Like I was always a big fan of him. When he went the Crow route, I'm actually a big J.O. Bar fan. And he's the Jim. He was the comic book writer that did the Crow. When he went the Crow route, I actually was like, I don't know. I kind of liked the flat top with the thing, but the Crow stuff, the stuff I've seen really grew on me. I was like, oh, he did an awesome job. Like it was.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like because Marsh and I will get like wrestling cards and random shit. Like I always ask, which Sting is it? Because Surfer Sting is what it's now more known as. Like that was my favorite Sting by far.
Yeah.
Like Surfer Sting coming out with RoboCop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I think about it too, it's like when I'm putting together something like a Mount Rushmore, it's the 4 biggest reasons that have kept me loving wrestling, and that's why I said I'd probably end up putting Becky Lynch on it now, because it's like, you know, a Foley, a Bret Hart, a John Cena, a Becky. These are people who make me love it more and bring me back to it. You know what I mean?
Not Bailey, not Bailey Marsh.
I mean, I'd like it to be Bailey, but
not in front of producer.
I know.
So, but the other thing is like tag team.
Yeah,
because tag teams, like, because Legion of Doom, oh man, I was all about. Speaking of Legion of Doom, shout out to that kid wearing the animal face paint on Smackdown.
Cool. Oh yeah,
fuck yeah, fuck yeah. That kid, I'll buy you a beer.
Yeah,
in 15 years.
Shout out to those 2 pissed off girls too. Those was awesome.
But yeah, I mean, the idea was like, I mean, it's tough for me to not put like a Sammy and Bailey as like, why do I love wrestling right now? But like, I think just historically things, you know, Becky's a big part of the big factor too.
Well, and me too. Like with Piper.
Yeah, Piper.
Like Piper never gets the recognition, and I love fucking Piper.
I think I had him in my.
Yeah.
Oh really? Yeah.
Rushmore, did I not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with him since They Live. Like, I've just loved that guy. And then watching the documentary, that guy was as good to his family, and he grew up. He had the worst. Like, think of the worst childhood you've read about, and that was Roddy Piper's like childhood.
Michael Jackson. Oh.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
chat,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Hitting the chat real quick, just in time, does say cheers to my dive bar friends. He also says, I've heard so many people say AJ debuting at the Rumble was the wrong time. I, on the other hand, still think it was perfect. Yeah, I can't think of a better way to do that. I think it was sick.
The only complaint I have with AJ debuting at the Rumble is that he didn't fucking win.
I wonder about that, though. I think it would be huge to have someone debut and win. And we talked about it in 2019. How big would that have been if he didn't win it, But I know that that's also put in contention. You know, does someone debut and should they win? Because that immediately says you're debuting and going to WrestleMania. I think you should do that with somebody eventually. And we talked about it in 2019. We wanted that to be Omega. But
yeah. And then we saw him wrestle, and we said, we're glad that didn't happen.
I'm so glad it didn't happen. Yeah, after I've seen him wrestle, I'm so glad we were wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, but I do know that he talks about how great a wrestler he is quite a bit. So,
Dude, he runs. Oh, I can't get off the way he runs.
Yeah.
Marsh tells me to stop, but the way he runs, he jumps up with his two guns ablazing, and it's so weird.
He runs like a video game on purpose, and it's really weird.
Not Chariots of Fire. It's not. You don't hear Chariots of Fire when you see him running.
Yeah, no, I see it, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
No one runs like that. He bounces off the ropes. And,
He
it's
looks
so weird.
real
Anyway,
awkward. It's weird. Yeah. So, but either way, I do think that it could have been cool if AJ had done that. I do think that that's a move at some point. Someone needs to debut and win the Rumble and go straight to Mania and make a big splash. I don't know who that's going to be now, but
yeah, it's tough now.
I mean, maybe it might be easier now. Like, imagine if an MJF debuted in a Royal Rumble and won the Rumble that year. You know what I mean? That could.
Is MJF the guy from AEW that's kind of like the big time heel over there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kinda.
And I think he's marketable. I think you could do stuff with him.
But like a
fans?
Hangman. Ooh,
You
I love
fans
me
of
some
him?
Hangman.
You wouldn't like Hangman.
Oh,
Kev.
really?
He's really watered down.
So good.
Are you fans of MJF?
Not
Yes
really,
and
but a
no.
lot of people are.
I can see what people like about him, and I don't know how to explain it. He's just to me, he's just a generic heel, and everyone just eats up everything he fucking says like it's fucking gold, fucking Pac-Man. Just meow 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 meow.
Yeah, he's like a tacky generic play wrestler. He just kind of goes out there and be like, "Oh, your mom, I slept with your mom, and everyone here's a hillbilly, and I'm smarter than everyone, and I'm better." And everyone goes, "Oh, what a great heel! He says such great stuff." And you're all like, "It's." I mean, he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, he's
Isn't
not
that
even.
what Ric Flair did, basically? Isn't that pretty much?
Not exactly. Ric Flair
But
was
it's-
hyping up stuff in a different way. I have these alligator shoes. My wardrobe's worth more than your house. He's not even going that far. He's just doing the basic. You're a hillbilly.
Yeah, it's Andy Kaufman. Oh, Memphis, Tennessee, type of thing. And like I said, it's just generic. If it was original, holy shit, cool, all right, I'd be like, all right, I'm behind it.
He's not even as clever as Elias, where he was saying having a basketball team in Seattle doesn't make any sense. He doesn't even go that deep into the city. He just goes, "Oh, this town is filled with fat ladies and smelly people," and you go, "Okay."
Yeah, because every wrestler like Rick Rude hadn't said that in the '90s.
Yeah,
but
Beard,
you were watching wrestling then. Elias, they were in Seattle, and he mentioned the Supersonics, and he goes, "This is why the Supersonics left," or something.
No,
like
no,
that.
I know. Let me tell you. He said, "It doesn't make sense." He goes, "It doesn't make sense," and he goes, "Like Seattle having a basketball team, it makes no sense." And then the crowd just booed him.
I think
for a live reaction, he said, wasn't it a Guinness record for the longest boos of a live crowd's reaction?
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And then they just changed the gimmick the next week.
Yeah, he was a babyface next week. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And now he's gone forever, apparently.
Well, he died, which they told us, which is weird.
Yeah, and he hasn't been back since he died.
Yeah. But yeah. What's next on your
docket? Do you think
there?
Elias comes back from Rumble?
I'm hoping Rumble's where he comes back, because I just don't know. I guess the rumor right now is that they're repackaging him and they didn't like it, so they went back to the drawing board, that it was too close to Macho Man in some way. So I'm hoping they get something stable to have him come back in Rumble. But
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Elias being Macho Man.
Elias,
dude. So one of the other things, I forgot what we were watching. It was some pay-per-view over here, and Elias was wrestling, and he was it not base jump? What is it when you flat foot and you jump? a vertical leap, basically.
Yeah.
He's next to the turnbuckles and just jumps on top of them.
Just to the top turnbuckle.
Like the top rope.
From just straight up, just from the mat in front of it, and just jumped up and was standing on the top rope.
I've seen that before, though.
It's fucking crazy the way he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, usually they climb up.
Like Marsh and I look at each other and we're like, holy shit. Normally they like springboard themselves up and put it up with their hands, and he like just jumped.
Oh, you mean he just leapt with his calf
like
muscles
vertical.
and got himself. He didn't go like heave-ho type thing. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just a base, like, it's not base jump, it's not vertical jump, it's something when you're flat-footed.
Like a box jump, right?
Box jump, yeah. He basically just box jumped to the top rope. And Marsh and I just looked at each other and we're like, holy shit, like, that was cool. And then we, like, rewound it, like, 3 or 4 times, and, like,
Corey
one of my
Graves
sons was watching
commentary
with us.
lost his mind.
Well, Elias is the guy with the beard that comes out with the guitar.
Yeah.
Not like Rick Boogs, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of his stuff.
Yeah.
He's like really athletic. Like they need to.
Is he just on a hiatus or something?
We don't
Well,
know.
he died.
They showed Elias's dad packages, and we don't know what's happening now.
Oh, okay.
And
They forgot.
that was before you were watching. Yeah, that was like 6 months ago.
They just forgot about him.
Yeah.
COVID. KO tells the truth about ROH. Yeah, so from what I understand, Ring of Honor had like a swan song, and all these wrestlers came in, and the WWE was kind of thrown under the bus for not letting their Ring of Honor people say some words. But Kevin Owens said that WWE wasn't asked, and none of the WWE wrestlers that had come from Ring of Honor had been asked, and he hadn't been asked because he would have done it. I think they would have done it. So
well, and this is one of the things that has always got Marsh and I, because we grew up watching WWE. There's probably some favoritism towards them, but there's so many times when WWE is billed as the bad guy in this evil empire, and then you hear, well, they were never asked.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, fuck you then. Yeah, like
you can't blame somebody if they weren't asked. They can't.
Yeah.
Don't chide them for saying no, but at least give them the opportunity to say no, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
I
it.
agree with that.
Let them say no, and then, okay, yeah, these guys are assholes, but Kevin Owens comes out and says, "Hey, we were never asked."
Yeah.
Well, don't bill them as the bad guys if you never gave them the chance to answer the fucking question.
100%.
And then I think also it was the quote news websites that were wording things in such a way, because Tony Khan came out and said, I am helping the ROH thing. You'll see AEW's presence there because I am assisting in this. And then they really leaned in to be like, AEW is leaning in and helping ROH. And every time they showed stuff like, oh, as approved by Tony Khan, really leaning to the idea that WWE did not approve it, because they'll say things like only AEW guys showed up. But yeah, when Kevin Owens was all like, yeah, nobody was asked and they didn't ask me and I would have done it and all that, you're just kind of like, I wonder how many people who call themselves journalists are familiar with the concept of being biased. I mean, we at least lean into it. We know it. I'll tell you straight up, I am biased before I make my opinion. But they try to present it all as factual and news and say this is how it is, and then you find out it's just not the case and it's just a biased opinion. And it's also fine to have a biased opinion.
Yeah. So don't say you're a journalist. Say you're an opinion writer.
Well, it's called an editorial, right? It's called. I was on the school newspaper, and when I wrote about sports, it's very clear and concise. This is what happened. We didn't win because we weren't good, right? There's not any. You don't have like sports and stuff. You can be concise. When you write like an editorial, it's your opinion. Like I had to write an editorial about when Montana went to no daytime speed limit. Well, if you read into the law though, if the old one was 55 and everybody drove 75 or whatever, and the cop would light you up if you were doing like 20 or 30 over. Well, now if you're going 45, the police officer could pull you over if he felt you weren't doing careful, prudent driving. So, like, I had to write an opinion piece on that editorial. I feel like if you're trying to spin the narrative, it should be categorized as an editorial. Yeah. And that's really what Tony Khan and AEW and all the detractors of WWE. I'm not saying, like, but you guys mention it all the time, like all the charity work, and like every show now I see something from WWE that's Salvation Army, or like they do a ton of stuff like in charity and stuff like that. So like they don't sound like the worst people on the earth. I think that I think there's this want. I wanted to kind of interject on the MJF thing, but
Go ahead.
I think there's this want to have something outside of the WWE be successful that I think some fans are like projecting their own biases on what's kind of left of wrestling, you know?
Yes.
Well, see, I think there's that, but I also think it's those against the grain people that, hey, I don't like the popular opinion and I'm going to do the exact opposite.
Right.
You know, like when you hear about a lot of these guys, like iPhone, for example, that's the first thing that came to mind. Oh, I'm not going to get an iPhone. Only douchebags have them. Oh, this and that. I'm like, well, just, is the product good? Do you like the product? Do you like what it does?
Yeah.
You
Does
know,
it work for you?
Yeah.
it's, you know, a lot of it's just going against, you know, popular opinion. Oh, Starbucks has the worst coffee ever. I can't stand Starbucks. You know, okay, what did you get from there? I've never been there, type of thing. You know,
I mean,
like, I think a lot of the WWE haters are those type of people
Right.
that
They
just
would
go
exist
against
anyway.
the grain. Whatever's popular, they don't like, and that's it.
Do you think too, though, that if AEW doesn't exist, I think this criticism is still here for the WWE. I actually feel like AEW is good for the WWE.
I wanted that. Marsh wanted that. As of right now, I think the only thing that gets me with AEW, and I haven't watched it in months, probably even a year by now, but they were supposed to be not against the WWE, but they were supposed to be an alternative, you know. And when they were first coming out, hey, we don't want to sign WWE talent, we want our own product, this and that, and that's like they've done the exact opposite.
Yeah, we're not
You know,
sports
it's like
entertainment. We're pro wrestling. We're going to be a sports-based product with statistics, and none of that stuff is where it is now. So it's like, it's only an alternative by being a different show. You know what I mean? It's not an alternative by being a completely different product. It's a very, very similar product in a lot of regards. But I agree with you, Beard. I think that the criticisms remain either way. I think there's a massive population of wrestling fans that don't realize how malleable they were when they were younger and truly hate Vince McMahon because of what they saw on TV and the rumors that they have allowed themselves to spread on their own, and they've worked themselves into hating Vince because they think that what he does on TV is real life.
Yeah, well, and that's just being worked. You're a mark.
Yep.
You don't want to admit you're a mark. You're a mark.
Yeah, we're all
You
marks
know.
here, and we love it.
We admit it, and we're okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Fucking eraser. The fucking eraser.
Ultimately, you just want to be entertained, and I don't think I don't think real fans of the sport care. I recently had a conversation. I think too, like WWE's marketing to a more casual fan base, and I feel like a lot of viewing stuff is going to that casual fan base in some ways.
Yeah, the broader spectrum. Like, hey, you don't have to watch every show, but when you're here, we're gonna entertain you.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna be fun.
You know, and you know, and I've gone and seen local shows and stuff like that, and it's like, hey, I'm going in and just gonna enjoy everything.
Yeah.
You know, I like I said, I wanted AEW to do well, and like I said, I haven't watched it in forever. I want to watch it again. I'll watch it tomorrow. Making a pledge, maybe, probably not, but I just didn't like the product that they came out with.
Another thing that WWE does in terms of what Beard's saying is WWE is completely okay with you tuning out and tuning back and missing a week or two and coming back. AEW's program is built in such a way that if you miss a week or two, you will fall behind. If you don't catch all the stuff they do on YouTube, you aren't clued in. They, quote, reward those who catch it all, right? But they do it to the point. Go ahead.
It's just for a harder core fan base.
Yeah.
That's what they're targeting. Yeah. Sorry.
No, yeah, 100%. it's to the detriment of bringing in someone new. I think Kev should watch tomorrow and just see if he even understands what the fuck is happening. You know what I mean? Because like,
you've been watching and you don't.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying when I do watch it, a lot of times I'm not sure what's going on because of stuff that happens on their YouTube that they're referring to. And they don't do any of those catch-up packages. They don't do like, hey, what you've missed or what you might want to know. They don't do almost anything like that.
Well,
plus one of the biggest distractors for me with the AEW was the Elite. You know, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. Hey, we're the best, and then you see what they put out, and you're like, you know, this is the best. And then plus Orange Cassidy, I can't stand that motherfucker. When he puts his hands in his pocket, God, I just want somebody to kick him in the balls.
Yeah, I'm cool with that too.
Beard, are you familiar with Orange Cassidy?
No, I don't know who he is.
So, during a match, literally, homeboy just puts his hands, he wears jeans, puts his hands in his pants pockets, and then just lightly kicks, like if you're trying to kick a dandelion or whatever those fuzzy things are, without knocking the fuzzy things off, lightly kicks his opponent in the shin.
Mm-hmm. And the whole crowd responds like he's doing big things. They go like, "Oh!" Like they're in on the gag of it, and it's this big ironic thing. And you watch it and you just kind of go, "Okay." And sometimes the wrestlers sell it like they've been kicked, and sometimes they don't. And yeah, I just don't find the joke funny personally, but
yeah, but that's his whole shtick. That's you know, I'm gonna whatever. I'm just here.
But it's working because you want to see him. You want to see him get kicked in the balls. Like it sounds like it's working.
But he's not supposed to be a heel.
Yeah.
Once again, like the Drew McIntyre thing, he's supposed to be a babyface.
Yeah.
If Drew was a heel, great, do it. If Orange Cassidy was a heel, great, do it. But they're billing them as these faces, and you're like,
best case, I want to see him get kicked in the balls. Worst case is I don't even just want to watch it at all. And to be honest, the last 7 months or so, anytime I have tuned in and seen Cassidy, I fast forwarded because I'll watch it on replay. I'll just fast forward right through it. I don't watch anything he does because I've already seen the act and I'm not a big fan. But all that aside,
and he doesn't change it. Yeah, he doesn't change it up, anyways.
Yeah. What do you got, Beard? What's the Beard want to know?
Oh, so we were talking about how despicable the WWE is. Vince does not want no-cut clauses. Like, he won't allow them in the contracts. We had a little bit of a conversation about that.
Yeah.
I think that, but we were also saying that if, like, Randy Orton probably has a no-cut clause, like, these top wrestlers definitely have no-cut clauses. You know, he just wants to be able to fire somebody for cause. Like, oh, you don't want to get the shot? Yeah, you're cut from WWE. Because this is about the media spinning stuff again. Mm-hmm. The Nia Jax release, I had said I was a little disappointed that, you know, she asked for a mental break and they released her. But then we were like doing some digging and Ref Marsh was like, oh, things may not appear as they seem.
Yeah.
Or in reality. So I don't know if
you know the thing that gets me with the no cut clause? Reminds me a lot of like sports contracts, and you know what's stopping a performer from, you know, that okay, I'm signing this big contract, I have a no cut clause, and then just, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You know, acting like a fucking diva.
Didn't Eli Manning do that?
I think what you mean 2-time Super Bowl champion? Eli Manning, how many Super Bowls have the Chargers won? Oh, 0. That's right.
Yeah, because motherfuckers like him would leave and destroy the whole
because
team.
They would not go play for a terrible ownership.
I was gonna say, you know what's funny about that whole argument is that Eli Manning got drafted by the Chargers and refused to play for them because he said they'll never win a championship, and immediately demanded to get traded, and he got traded to New York.
Yeah. No, but like his dad played for the Saints, right? When the Saints were awful, and they were awful forever. And his dad had a big say in that. I know for a fact.
Oh, yeah.
But also, are you a good team captain if you have to leave the team? Like, if you were really that good, you could take any team to the championship. He's just a piece of shit.
Well,
go Chargers. Go Bolts.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants have been a dumpster fire since Eli Manning's retired, really.
Good.
It was
Serves him
before
right.
that. Eli's last few years.
Yeah,
was
they
a
haven't been good
surpass.
for a decade. Really, they had one good 11-5 season, but they haven't been good for a decade. So,
Even when they won the Super Bowl, they weren't even. Their record wasn't even that good.
hey,
That's true.
it don't matter. How many
It's
did the
true.
Cardinals have? That's right. We have 4.
One after this year,
One.
baby.
Yeah.
But
Good
so
luck
I will
beating
say
the
this.
Colts.
Yeah, I will say this
The
though.
Colts.
The idea of this no cut clause thing is so petty and stupid, and it goes in again to the idea of the narrative that's being spun out there. Is Tony Khan giving a ton of no cut clauses? Is Impact Wrestling giving a ton of no cut clauses? Did Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin have a no cut clause? Who are these guys to say, coming into a company with no track record, I deserve to know that I will never be cut? Like, that's ridiculous, and you don't see that in almost any other job.
I will say, I do believe Hulk Hogan, when he went over to WCW, a lot of those guys had guaranteed money.
They
And I think
money,
that, and that, what?
But,
And
but
that is like a no cut clause. But I think
no, it's not, because guaranteed money and no cut clauses are different. If
No-
you
Yeah, but you don't
It-
care
it's-
if you're released, Kev, is what I'm saying. If you're getting the money, I think the WWE, like, if they have like the person's like, oh, I signed a 3-year deal at, let's just say, $1 million a year, but you want to be able to get all of that $3 million. So if the WWE releases you before
100.
then, for any one reason, that money's not guaranteed to you. So I think I
100%,
think
but
the
that-
no cut clause more has to say about the labor contracts that those people are negotiating for themselves, the wrestlers themselves. And I would just say this, and then I won't say anything more about it, but I'll just say this, like, if you're a good wrestler and your product speaks for itself, you're probably going to get the guaranteed money that you want. And if you're a fledgling wrestler that's just kind of getting there, you're probably not going to get everything in your contract that you want. That's just the way it goes, I think.
But that's why they signed the guaranteed money contracts, because, hey, my contract's good for this much. At the minimum, I'm guaranteed this much.
Mm-hmm. And
If they cut me, if they fire me, I'm going to get this much. If, a no-cut clause altogether is just, to me, narcissistic and, unrealistic.
Yeah. Also, I believe that some of those guaranteed contract things, when they cut you early, I remember hearing that there's some form of a buyout. They don't have to buy you out on the entire contract, but they got to buy you out on like a percentage of that contract. So you're still getting
guaranteed part.
Yeah, they're still have to buy it out. So it's not like the idea of this no cut thing really comes from the first conversation I saw come up was Lana. And of all talent to say that they want to demand a no cut clause in their next proceedings. And you look at someone like Lana, who was, like you said, fledgling, sometimes good, sometimes bad, really struggling for a long time. It's like you're getting real close to unionization without the union at that point, which, is a whole other argument. But I do think that the idea of a no-cut clause is a silly argument, and no one's offering those to begin with. Tony Khan has fired people under the radar and gotten away with it. A lot of people say that it's for whatever excuses they want to give him, but Tony Khan's not going to do it either. I mean, no one's doing it for a reason. And I don't think that I think it's a silly thing. I wouldn't go into a company, even with my college degree, and say, I want a guaranteed no cut. I don't even think the military does that.
Well, I mean, you have a contract you sign when you sign up for 4 years, you got to give them 4 years. Now, if you go do things that, make you subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, that contract won't be lived up by you, that you could face, like, exactly. That could be.
Well, exactly. And that's what I was
point.
saying. There's two parts. There's two parts to a contract. There's hey, you're going to get paid this much if you fulfill your own obligation on said contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get a refill. I'm going to step out for a second. I'll still talk, but I'll be off screen.
Yeah, I didn't have opinion either way. That feels like a very much individual contract sport where and I think if you're in that business to get to the level of the WWE, you've been through all kinds of promoters and this, that, and the other, probably not getting paid, how to get paid, blah, blah, blah. Probably some of the worst of the worst and best of the best, you know, type stories. So I would just say, like, they're not idiots when they get to that level. They know what they're doing in their best interest. I think if, again, I mean, I always feel like unions do protect people in some way from greed and corruption and stuff like that, but they can also be filled with those things too. So,
Yeah.
It is.
I've seen both sides too, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been part of several unions, and there are ones that I felt like were really protecting me, and there's been other ones I thought were really taking advantage of me as a number. So, yeah,
Right.
I agree with that. I think that argument is massive as well. But I agree. I think that there's also a certain point of it. I've been saying on the show since episode 1, I don't understand contracts, and neither does anyone else who's reporting on them, because none of them ever see the contracts. The only ones who do are the companies and the wrestlers. And it's really an argument for them to have with each other. And as fans and drinkers and lover of product, it really shouldn't impact your ability to enjoy a show. And I mean, I'm not going to go to a WWE live event and on the way out just say, "Hey Roman, can I just take a peep at your contract? I want to make sure that you're secure for the next couple years before I cheer for you." Like, what the fuck?
I'm worried about your family's income.
Yeah.
Well,
Are your kids
Kevin
doing
Owens
that?
is making what they say he's making. I'm imagining Roman is getting paid a little bit better than Kevin Owens.
Yeah. And I also think that the only people who would get a no-cut clause are people that they're not going to cut. Like an Undertaker at this point.
Randy
He'd be on a
Orton.
Legends no-cut. A Randy Orton.
Yeah.
A Roman
Brock Lesnar.
Reigns.
Rock.
I could see them doing it for a Brock. Yeah, Becky Lynch, where it's just all like, there's just no chance that we are going to let you go. You might leave, but we're not going to let you go. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I only had one more thing. It was just about the day one maybe being in jeopardy, but I think, based on how well the WWE did towards the end of like total lockdown, they're not that afraid of it. I think they're probably pretty prepared for it.
yeah, I haven't seen
Return of
too
the
much of it.
Thunderdome.
Return of the Thunderdome could be cool. Dude, I want one of those panels. I want one of those Thunderdome panels. Put it up in my house. Yeah. That's one of those things too where I'm just kind of watching it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I get the impression that I think WWE will keep moving forward, and they just might get stricter on attendance, vaccine status, numbers. You know what I mean? Like, I think that you might see flailing capacities depending on what city they're in, but I don't see it going back to a complete lockdown the way that it was, just because at this point, without getting political, the vaccine is there. It's your choice if you want it. It's your choice if you don't. And I think that the risk is yours to take at this point, where before, when it was originally locked down, the risk was everyone's to behold. There was no vaccine. There was no... there was still a lot of questions. How can you protect yourself? And at this point, it's your personal choice if you want to or not. And I just think that leaves the case to just keep it open and let people take the risks they want to take.
The choice is yours and yours alone.
Well, I think too, like,
Hidden Temple.
you can't make comparisons to like what New York City went through, where there's 8 million people in the 5 boroughs, right? To like Dry Prong, Louisiana, where, I feel like a lot of people socially, like even here in Alaska, we socially distance, right? So like,
Well, yeah, because most of the people in Alaska you want to stay away from.
Yeah, you're not trying to be near people out there, dude.
well, I mean, if you're not aware, Kev, there is 350,000 people in town I live in. You fucking hillbilly.
Yeah, but that town is fucking 600 miles long, dude. You're still
It is
spread.
pretty big. It's pretty big. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's bigger than Manhattan.
Each
Oh
person
yeah,
has
it's bigger.
200 miles.
Yeah, it's big. It's big. That's why I was like, when I go over to the east side to the snow machine store, man, I'll make a phone call. Hey, do you have this? What do I do here? Yeah, we have it. And you come on down. It's a 30-minute drive for me to Mountain View, Mountain View, where Alaska Mining and Diving is. Shout out Alaska Mining and Diving. And
Sponsors, not sponsors.
yeah. Like to get parts for my 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's a trek.
like
so
I get it. I mean, you can't walk 30 minutes and New York and be that far. So
That's true. But yeah, I think that, I think at this point, I think we're past the idea of, do we need a Thunderdome versus can we just kind of go by the city's ordinances? And if one city's just not locked down, do you go to a different city? I think it's just, there's just too much choice out there now and too many options for people to protect themselves that I don't personally foresee a total lockdown the way that it was. But I also don't know shit about much. So who the fuck am I? I'm just drinking, talking.
And at the same time, I'm okay if there's another total lockdown. That was fun.
It was pretty cool. There's a lot of coolness to it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get there, guys. I mean, who knows? But I don't think we'll ever come close. I mean, I think New York City itself might have to get really close to that, just because of the sheer number of people that live in that small area, not much bigger than this town I live in. So it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I was in the Thunderdome almost every week, so theoretically during pandemic, I went to more WWE events than I ever have historically at any other time. I was in the Thunderdome every week.
You were actually in the Thunderdome?
Yeah.
His video feed was.
Oh,
I was like this on the Thunderdome. It was dope.
Okay.
So I technically went to more WWE shows during the pandemic than any other time in my life.
And there was a time where he was booing Randy Orton and had his thumbs down, and my son wanted to lynch him.
Yeah.
Was this when Randy Orton had hair still?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's like, how is he rooting? He put his thumbs down against Randy Orton. I was like, kill him. Get him. I'll hold him down. You kick him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. But at the same time, whatever they do, they'll do. We'll see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Texas never locked down to begin with, so I don't think that WrestleMania is in any jeopardy. But
No.
But
Like
on
it
that
was in
same
Los
page,
Angeles.
but on the same page, a producer was showing me an article I didn't dig deep in, but supposedly, reportedly, some WWE superstars have contracted COVID, and we don't know who yet at this time or anything.
Yeah.
And when you see stuff like that, then maybe lockdowns do happen. So.
Yeah, that's that. They don't know, Kev. That was the whole point of is that day one in jeopardy, because I read a little bit and watched a little bit about it. And I was like, oh yeah.
But here's the thing. Being a fan of every sport imaginable, watching UFC, boxing, WWE. There's this little thing on the bottom of every fucking promo that says card subject to change.
Yeah. I think day one goes off. I think day one goes. Here's what I think. I think what's happening is the Omicron is combining with the Delta, and people that are vaxxed or triple vaxxed, booster, which I think it's safe to say all the WWE superstars that are on the roster right now are 100%. They're getting positive tests, but they're asymptomatic. Mm-hmm. So really, they don't have it. So like, they could wrestle.
My son tested positive, and he was asymptomatic. Like, didn't miss a beat. He's running around, punching me, kicking me. Yeah. Just being himself.
You were hoping he was going to tire out a little bit, and none of this.
I told him, hey, calm
damn
down.
it, my kid got COVID and he wasn't wore the shit out.
Yeah. Still wouldn't sleep.
Yeah. I'm pissed. I wanted my money back.
Right.
Yeah.
But, jokingly aside, like, I'm glad he's healthy, and, at the end of the day, I just hope everyone gets through this bullshit, and
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Let's quit politicizing the vaccine and everything else and move on as fucking people.
Yeah, just get healthy.
I have a rain check on the thing. Did you see about this? I'll hold it up to the camera, but I sent this to Ref Marsh.
Oh yeah.
Florida man tells bartender he is the Undertaker and tries to tombstone him. And will you text that photo to Kev?
Yeah, go ahead and hold it up to the camera too.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if you can see this dude's face. Oh my god. And he's got eyeliner around his eyes, like really dark, right? Like as dark as you. Yeah, I don't know with my
Shit,
ring
that
light.
tweet that you had was deleted, so now I got to take a screenshot and send it to him. I'm doing it now.
Oh, I'll send it to you. No, I can send it back to you, my man.
No, I clicked on it and said the tweet was deleted. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So there it goes. It's going to Kev right now, so you can. Take a
Yeah,
look.
it's that was, Marsh said it. He replied back to me and said the tombstone is a hard move to pull off. But wasn't that what Stone Cold got messed up from Owen Hart trying to tombstone him? And he's like, no, I do it differently.
It was a pile driver,
which is essentially a tombstone with you're jumping on your butt instead of your knees.
Yeah. When I saw that, my first thought was like, damn, the tombstone's really difficult to put on someone to begin with. If you're trying to do it and they don't want to be a part of it, that's going to be even more tough.
Yeah,
so I just wonder how that conversation went. But the dude, apparently Florida
I'm
Man
gonna
tells bartender
flip you upside down like I'm going to perform sex on you, but then I'm going to drop you on your head.
Yeah. No, you're not.
God damn. That dude looks like a swap meet version, like toy version of the Undertaker.
We call that bootleg Jesus. Like that's a bootleg Undertaker, Undertaker. Like I am the Undertaker, bootleg version.
Yeah, he's like the
He's
thunder
not the
giver.
Undertaker. He's the undergiver.
Yeah, the thunder giver.
And he's probably like 5'5".
Yeah,
which is awesome.
That's being generous.
We need to find out how tall this dude is because Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, is what, like near 7 foot. He's like 6'9".
Yeah, 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah, he's
like
massive.
Yeah,
I watched the Kane, the evolution of Kane, and that whole thing. That was really cool, man. Like to watch how they created.
This dude looks like a generic Taskmaster.
Yeah, he does.
Who?
The Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan. He was a small guy too, but yeah.
Like God.
Yeah,
This dude looks like he's as tall as he is round.
Yeah. He does not look like he lifts what they would call the weights. So I'm sure he hurt his back or something. Just to have this on video of this guy trying to tombstone somebody. And oh, by the way, they don't mention it, but I'm a 1,000,000% sure it fucking happened in a bar. So, that shit is epic.
Oh yeah, that's good. Let me just hit up one thing before we get into the show, because we're running a little short on time. I do want to throw this out there. Pro Wrestling Tees.
We're just getting started.
Yeah. Pro Wrestling Tees had a hack that affected a ton of people, and their credit cards were stolen. And if anyone had bought from Pro Wrestling Tees this past year, there's a possibility that people's accounts are getting charged. I did see some rumors that they're starting to see correlation between people who had the AEW box through the AEW shop specifically. But the thing that I wanted to bring up was that right now we're in an era of more wrestling journalists than there's ever been, who definitely go out and say they're not dirt sheet writers, that they're a news outlet, it's the wrestling media, and none of them are reporting on this or asking any of the questions that you would think would be relevant to this. And they're citing...
Because they're shills.
They're shills. And I think that the idea is that, like, hey, if PWTees is fucking up, that's something you need to bring up because a massive part of your fan base shops from there. Secondly, if the AEW shop is not affected, then you definitely need to be putting that out there, because AEW shop is run through PWTees, and if it's a different infrastructure, you could be letting a huge, massive part of your audience know that they are protected. But what PWTees did is the attack happened in November, and they sent out a letter via regular mail that just arrived to people starting yesterday. I never received one. I don't know who's getting them and when, but
I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about it at all.
Yeah. And a lot of people are upset that not only did they not send out an email or a tweet, and they definitely tweeted during the Chicago BLM protests and stuff, and showed themselves boarding up their business and saying they were going to protect themselves from looters and stuff. And if you have the ability to say, like, hey, we're closing up our shop for a day because of this, or we're just closing up the idea of walk-ins because of this, then there's no reason that you can't go on there and say, hey, there was a massive security breach in which all of our customers' credit cards, numbers, CVVs, and names have been released to an organization that we can't stop. You'd think that keeping it quiet for 2 months would be something that the wrestling media might want to tackle. And Kevlar brings up a good point. Can you imagine if it was a WWE shop? Yeah.
And there were other websites as well.
A few other websites, but I believe their sister sites like 1 Hour Tees and something else. But it was a whole structure. It was just fucking attacked and let out. And like, I just think that we're in an area where the wrestling news journalists and media could set themselves apart by saying we are actually going to attack things that are relevant to our viewership, our listenership, our customer base, our fan base, and protect them. But it's really coming off like, hey, there's a lot of money there. AEW gives us whatever we want. We're not going to report on this. But like Kev said, if WWE Shop was hacked and all of their customers went out, you better believe that's a headline and they're running story for weeks.
Well, Ref Marsh, that would also involve these people actually being journalists and not just like clickbait merchants, because that's what a lot of them have turned into. Because that's unfortunately what makes money.
But even then, like, you know, the clickbaits, how many clicks would you get if you said, hey, a popular wrestling shirt website got hacked and your information might be out? Click here to find out what site that is.
Yeah, are they giving it clicks to protect? But go back, Beard.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your thought, Beard.
No, I was done. Done. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I just was saying, I mean, unfortunately, that's how money is made now, is the clickbait stuff. So, you know, there's no money in actually diving into journalism. I didn't know anything about the Pro Wrestling Tees hack. And, you know, I just bought like one of your shirts from there. Like,
shit, you'll get a letter soon.
You're getting a letter. No, I didn't get a letter. That's why I wonder if it's actually. Oh, yeah. I mean, which is also a point we're going to be moving off of PWTees in the next month or so. We're pulling our stuff off there. We're going to pop up a different merchandiser. I haven't been really pleased with them in a number of facets.
Like a virgin on prom night.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been thrilled with them as a company on all their things for a little bit, but I've been okay with it, dealing with it the way that it is. But after something like this, and after the irresponsible nature of not even trying to alert your people in a timely manner, there's just really not a lot of reasons why you can give it. And to be honest, like, look, I'll throw him under the bus too. Fucking Fightful Sean Ross put out a whole thing where he's all like, look, we don't use them. We haven't used them for a couple of years. And that was his argument on why they're not reporting on it. And you're like, no, that's not an argument why you're not reporting on it. You're trying to wipe your hands clean of it.
Yeah, if you're a journalist, news is news. That's it.
News is news.
Whether you like it or you disagree with it is a different asset. But
yes,
if you're a journalist, fucking report this shit. Like, I'd be pissed if I get a letter in the next couple days saying, hey, your shit was leaked because of this. And I was like, if I could have found out from one of my news outlets, if you will, that I could have been aware of this months ago. Yeah, I would have been. I would be fucking livid at everyone.
Yeah, there's no way. And like what Beard was saying, it's because at the end of the day, this highlights the idea that they're not journalists, they're not news, they're clickbait mongers, and they're merchants, and they're protecting who they protect for the reasons they want to protect them. And it's just obvious at this point. I think a lot of the people in the IWC and us here in the dive bar of the IWC are encouraging you to stop clicking on that shit and just enjoy the product and enjoy it is what it is. 90% of those articles they write anyways are responses to a tweet that someone else put out. Just follow who you like on Twitter. You're going to get the same info because these guys aren't willing to protect you in a time where they actually could, because these people all have connections with everybody at PWTees.
Well, we're a news channel now because you broke that news to me. I had not heard that at all. I have not seen that anywhere. That's kind of disconcerting.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't make news.
Well, you know what's funny is that, like, this is once again news to me as well. And what's even worse is you heard it here first. What pisses me off even the most is that I've bought from PWTees several times. I was a part of their monthly box and stuff like that. And for them not to send me a fucking email saying, "Hey,
Change your
shit
credit
might
card.
be, shit might be in jeopardy. Look
You know
for
that house you just
fraudulent
bought in
activity."
Costa Rica? Like,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that pisses me off. Like if you know, just from the company, like just release it. Like Target had it, what, 2-3 years ago, and they flat out said, "Hey, we're sorry this happened to us. You know, if
Yeah, but you let your
know,
customers know so they can take action.
Exactly.
You change your card number.
Exactly.
Do all these things.
for you to send a letter out in snail mail, like I said, if I get one in the next couple of days, I'm gonna be fucking livid."
We should consider. I will tell you, like, I mean, I would consider a class action lawsuit against them if something happened to my credit or money or something because of that. Like, I would consider. I mean,
we're marching straight to Chicago and taking a shit on their doorstep.
Well, I mean,
not that they would notice our shit
you-
from the other shit on their doorstep, but
they'll notice if
we'll be
somebody
there.
goes, "Hey, we're suing you for $10 million." Like,
well, if you do do give a follow to @WOTR the show on Twitter, there is an article by financial.yahoo.com of a lawsuit company, a legal company, whatever you call them, and they're asking for people to submit their information if they were attacked and stuff. They're looking at the idea that it could also be a class action lawsuit because you waited 2 months to tell anybody.
well, and you mailed it out. Like, you mailed it out. Like,
you mailed it out 2 months later.
You don't want someone to know. Send a fucking letter, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right? That's the thing, right? It's in the mail. How many times do you hear that? Like that's a fucking gag in real life. It's in the mail, right?
Marsh,
yeah, it's in the mail.
Yeah. Marsh, watch out. There's somebody breaking into your house. Well, I sent a courier pigeon.
Yeah.
Did you not get it?
You didn't?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
I telegraphed it to you.
Yeah.
Didn't you get the telegraph?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? That is some shady bullshit by them.
Yeah.
Like, to not send an email to the accounts that you have. So they like had to go into everyone's account, get their address. I'm sure there's a program that does it for them, and puts a label on an envelope and mail it out instead of saying email is free. Click reply to everybody that's ever bought anything from us in the last like 2 years.
And I can even say, from another disgusting standpoint, as somebody who owns and operates one of their fucking links, they didn't reach out to us at any point and say, "Hey, just so you know," you know what I mean? Like,
tell your people.
Yeah, tell your
fans.
people. Yeah, just know that
Your
you as a
shirt
person
is the reason my dad is free.
Yeah. And that's just it too, is like, I mean, so not only do they have people who are purchasing stuff, when you are a store, you have to give them more bank information so they can deposit into your account. So I would think that we would definitely want to know if that information is going out, because that means that people have routing numbers and bank accounts and a lot more than just a swipe of a card or, like you said, a PayPal. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bit ridiculous that no one's willing to ask the tough questions from that company, because it would make AEW look bad. And I think that's all it is, because if it was WWE, you better believe that people are fucking knocking down that door nonstop to get those clicks.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, you know, if it was WWE, it'd be on CNN and Fox News. Like, you know, people would be reporting on this. Like, hey, this major company, meaning AEW's not a major company.
No, none of those
got hacked.
Are news channels anymore. They're just editorializations
of
the Republican and Democratic Party.
It's propaganda, baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's an absolute joke. You know,
it is.
Yeah,
even on the joke.
I was really disappointed on some of them. There was a few of them that I expected, well, surely some of them will at least dive in a little bit and get some information out there, but literally none of them are doing anything other than fans respond negatively to the report that why don't you fucking ask any of your connections? Like, it's been really disappointing as somebody who follows
the Wall
some.
Street Journal, and that's something I expect to see in that, and that's why I'm surprised. Like,
yeah,
that, you know. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just I agree with you 100%. Who's on the bottom of your glass?
Oh, that's hashtag I'm Matt Brown.
I'm Matt Brown.
I'm Matt Brown. I like the smell of butthole. It's my favorite flavor. That's what he
It's
sounds
about
like.
Matt Brown's season because him and Mr. Hanky are the tag team sewer champions of the world.
Ooh, that's going to be a meme soon. Thanks for the idea. I've been needing a good Christmas meme for Matt Brown, and that's going to be it.
Well, every time you say it, it reminds me of Mr. Hanky. Ooh, I'm Matt Brown. I'm Mr. Hanky.
Yeah, I guess that's similar. I mean, they both like buttholes, so it's hard to argue.
Huh?
Definitely
Who
hard to
doesn't?
argue.
Who does it?
I have to go to the bathroom, so we need to end the show.
Yeah, on that note, speaking of buttholes, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I just gotta go. If you want to run to the restroom, we'll start talking about the shows, because that's all I had for news, and I think that's all you had for what the beard wants to know, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to run to the restroom, Kev, let's start with SmackDown. We don't need to go in side by side on every little given thing, but what do you think about what's going on over there on SmackDown right now?
I mean, the kid wearing the animal face paint damn near brought a tear to my eye. That was amazing.
It was so fucking cool,
Love
dude.
it.
When he came up, producer was immediately like, "Oh, that's so cute," and I was like, "That's the Legion of Doom. Like, how's that kid even know? This is dope."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I was so excited. I was like, pay for that fucking kid's college right now.
But also, on that same note, in 2019, when we were at the Royal Rumble, we were at a meet and greet thing where one of the kids was wearing a Fabulous Freebird shirt, and he must have been 12, maybe. And when he saw Michael
He was
Hayes,
just trying to find his dad.
right? Well, the shirt ended up being signed by everybody he bumped into, but when he saw Michael Hayes, he freaked out and ran over to him. And I talked to the dad, and the dad's like, yeah, he fucking loves the Fabulous Freebirds. When I put on the network, we pull up old stuff, and he'll want to see anything that the Fabulous Freebirds ever did. And he's gone through and watched it all. He's like, that's just his absolute favorite. And you just go, so glad the network's out there, that kids can connect to those types of things, and that parents can say, oh, look at what I liked as a kid, and have the kid light up in the same way. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I told you with, one of my sons, when he was a baby, he'd be fussing and stuff like that. And, I was trying to ignore him like a good father does.
mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to watch TV. I'm just kidding. But I remember turning on the network, and he's fussing and I'm holding him. And an old Hogan promo came on. And he just sat there and just dead eye watching TV and just ate up everything he said. And I was like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And, he stopped, he paid attention. Cool. I was like, that was weird. And he was fussy again. And I was like, huh. So I put on another Hogan promo and he just sat there. Brother, take your vitamins, this and that. And I was like, damn, my son likes Hogan. I was like, all right, And
I got a good friend from one of my former jobs where he had found his Ultimate Warrior wrestling buddy and gave it to his daughter, who was at the time like 1 or 2. And she was scared of it initially and then started asking for it and was sleeping with it. And he'd send me pictures. He still sends me pictures where they'll go to a store, because he also was able to find his old Warrior stuff. I gave him some Warrior stuff. She loves the Ultimate Warrior. She won't go out of the house if she doesn't have the Hasbro Warrior with her. Little jumpy one. Yeah, and so it's one of those things where
I
it's
have
all
the
like...
jumpy one.
Yeah?
Right here.
Oh, yeah, that's the one. The green. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she won't go without it. And so, I don't know, when I see stuff like that with the kids liking stuff where you go, how could they possibly like it? And you just kind of remember that wrestling, good characters are timeless and can branch.
Well, hold on. We just mentioned Hogan and Warrior. It's not good wrestling. It's
good
just
characters.
It's good character.
But then you go back to like
There's a difference.
Right? So those
And
guys,
that's what I was talking about with the Mount Rushmore. Like,
they're great for their era. You
Yeah.
can't make. Yeah, I mean, like what Hulk did in the ring in 1982 was cool in 1982. I mean, that's
shall not be mentioned because it might be considered rape nowadays.
Well, but at the same point, it was cool in 82, and nowadays we think, oh, wrestling's evolved and it's not as good anymore. But if kids are watching it and gravitating to it and really being engaged by it, does that mean that it's sort of timeless? You know what I mean? Like, it might have been good then, but maybe it's not all bad now. Maybe we've just, our palates changed a little. Like, go ahead.
Everything is reciprocal, right? When you were in high school, did people wear acid wash jeans and tie-dyes? They did. Like they did for me. We had people that were stuck in the 80s and the 60s in my high school.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff was making a comeback. All the moves, all the music that was a decade.
My dad still wears all that shit.
Yeah. You know. I'm just saying, like, you know that stuff is in vogue. Like Charlotte Flair played off her dad's, stuff a little bit too.
Yeah.
So a
little bit. That's her whole fucking career.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying though? Like I think
Yeah.
though if I agree. This is like how do you
Sorry.
on that note, let's talk about something else.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. But because I was even talking about it to somebody where I was like remembering certain foods as a kid and being it so good, and everyone's like, "Oh, remember how this one, like how McDonald's was so good and their fries were just the best, and nowadays you think that they're not, and their recipes changed and this is different. Oh, Twinkies used to be so good. The McRib. Yeah, remember how Twinkies used to be good, and now they don't. They taste kind of manufactured, and I really think that that's a larger sign of a larger concept of you've not experienced
Welcome to
enough.
adulthood.
Right, but when you had the Twinkie, you didn't have a good steak yet. You didn't go to a nice restaurant. You haven't been to a place where a chef is making a 5-course meal that just blows your mind. So then when you go back to the simple flavors, you go, oh, this isn't as good as I remember it. No, you just have a wider palate now than you used to. And I think the same thing's with wrestling. With kids with a young, fresh palate, they get something like a Hogan or a Legion of Doom or a Warrior, and they go, this is pretty fucking cool. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh yeah.
Grim Reaper coming through saying hi. Cheers to Grim Reaper.
Cheers, Grim.
Let's see. I do want to ask you guys about this. We're on the topic of Charlotte Flair. Shotzi Banks, Toni Storm versus Charlotte Flair and Shotzi. I honestly thought that everyone looked pretty solid but Charlotte. I felt like Charlotte looked sloppy and messy and was trying to undercut a ton of people, and it showed. But I saw people talking about it like they saw an opposite. They said Charlotte Flair proves that she's the absolute greatest. I saw this tweet. They said Sasha Banks is undeniable, and Toni and Shotzi were sloppy and didn't make sense. And I was like, that's not the match I watched.
Yeah, I agree.
Remember that old movie, Mean Girls?
Yeah.
That's Charlotte.
Okay.
Good one.
Charlotte just
That was a good one.
fucking shits on people to make herself look better.
That's what it feels
Charlotte
like.
Yeah.
Charlotte hangs out with the bigger girls because it makes her look better. Like, this is absolutely fucking stupid. Charlotte looked like shit. If you watch move by move, Charlotte looks like crap. And every match, it's the same. I think Charlotte secretly wants to get cut. And she has a no-cut clause, so she has to get cut by her performance.
Beard, what do you think?
I'm sorry.
What do you think, Beard?
I just always feel like when I watch a Charlotte match, and I try to do it pretty unbiased, it just feels like if everybody is struggling with her, then is it really everybody or is it her? It always just feels like it's her. I always see those people in better. What was the thing we were talking about, kind of bantering back and forth about Twitter? She can't even take a fucking pie to the face properly. She won't allow, she will not give a single inch to her opponent. It just feels like she could, and honestly, to me, this is how I see it. And, I don't feel like I'm biased on this. It's just, every time I watch a match with her, I feel bad for her opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she doesn't help anyone's career. She's out for number one, Charlotte, that's it. And if you're in her way, she shits on you.
And I've never seen it be so self-evident in a match. And it's every time with her. The Becky Lynch thing, when I told Marsh, her post-interview was the most honest wrestling promo ever, because she was exhausted from trying to not get kicked in the actual face by her the entire match. And I was just like, oh man, cannot be good. And this may have something to do with maybe having a contract release or something for these people, because the rumors, if you believe them, she wants out of her WWE contract or whatever. And I don't know, like, let her off. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying. Set the bitch a packing. Go. I'm done.
You know what I do think?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
I agree. I don't think that I'm biased. Grim Reaper does. He says, but Charlotte is your favorite, though. I've gone on so many Charlotte rants on every platform I'm given a chance to, and we won't even be talking about Charlotte. And I was like, before we go, but
Charlotte sucks.
She's awful. But I do think, from a completely objective standpoint, I do think it would be fascinating to see what happened if they did release her, because if she did end up in another company, and people started changing their minds, or maybe the wrestling became a little more obvious that she might be in a well-protected bubble visually and by the company, that although the three of us have been kind of talking about it and seeing it, there's a lot of people who don't want to. I do wonder if she were to go into like an AEW and blend in with the worst of the worst. Not to say their whole roster is, but I'm saying they have a lot of untrained talent there that they're still working on, and she could work with them. If she's not able to get something out of those talents, if people would then start saying, what's wrong here? You know what I mean?
But that's the problem, is that she's not willing to work with the other talents. It's Charlotte's number one, and Charlotte, that's it. If she went to AEW, as soon as one person took a misstep, coughed out of line, like, they're done.
Yeah.
Cut them now. She's out of the business. Charlotte is... Charlotte thinks she's bigger than the product.
Yeah.
And it's evident. There's a lot of people that are holding on to, just like us WWE marks, holding on to the nostalgia fact that she is athletic, and that's fine. But her product for the past, I'd say 2 years, is just about her, and that's it.
It's been pretty awful.
Love it.
And if you call her out on it, they're just, they make excuses for her.
I'm surprised at how much she's tried to twist the narrative into people's criticism being sexist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's come up a lot. She goes, would it be this way if I was a man? Or
Yeah, go ahead. I never made that comparison. I never even thought of it. I just think of how good the women's division is and how athletic those women are, and what I have seen that's been really incredible. Yeah. And then I've seen someone who has all the ability to do all those things, but chooses not to.
Yes. Yeah.
She's holding out for the contract.
Maybe.
What it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like, obviously it's just her about her, and that's it.
That's a good point. I don't think any of us believe that she's not capable of creating greatness. We just think that she's refusing to.
Yeah. She doesn't look like a willing participant ever.
I like that. I like that you brought that up, because I think we were dancing around it and missing it. And I like that Beard put the fucking bullseye on it, and he goes, I think the deal is, it's not that she can't, she just won't. Like, I don't think any of us believe that she's not trained enough or well versed enough to do what is magic. She just doesn't.
Yeah, but if you're just coming in, if you're just coming in like I am, and I haven't seen a lot of her good matches from the past, she's not more athletic than Bianca Belair. She's not better than Sasha Banks. She's nowhere close to Becky Lynch. She's not better than Naomi. She's not better than any of the women I've seen on all the shows since I've been back. Like, she's not better than Shayna Baszler. She's not better than, and I like Shayna. Shayna like her a lot. I actually feel like she's very underused. But for me, I almost tune her matches out now, because it's like, oh, this isn't going to be fun to watch. And
well, exactly, and that's a problem.
I think it's fascinating too that in like a 6-month time frame that you came to that conclusion with very little goading by us at all. Because I remember when you're first watching, we started with, Beard, I want to know what you think, because we feel so biased. I remember pitching to you on a lot of Charlotte stuff early on, and you've come to that same conclusion, which I think is awesome, because I do think that there's a certain fan base that's been used to watching her for so long that they're harboring old stuff over this stuff. She's the greatest because of something 4 years ago.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I don't have any of that basis of reference. I just like the Becky Lynch thing is so evident. You listen to that interview that's on the show. It's like, she's so like emotional about the match because it was so brutal on her. Mm-hmm. You know, Charlotte just does not want her opponent to look good. I don't think she understands. It just makes her look terrible. And it actually, I thought Becky Lynch, like I told you, I was kind of on the fence. And then after learning about her as a person and outside of the ring, and then that match kind of won me over as far as her being pretty awesome, because I was like, oh, dude, like that just felt like you were in a war.
Well, Charlotte, it's clear Charlotte only cares about Charlotte.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I talked to Marsh about the stupid moonsault into a moonsault or whatever. And I'm like, she's missing it every fucking time. Every fucking time I've seen her do it, she misses it. And it's bad and it's apparent. Yeah. And Marsh told me, well, that's an Andrade move. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, well, she's only fucking doing it because of Andrade, you know, her fiance, which is fine. But when you keep fucking it up, holy fuck. When does he step in and say,
stop?
Bitch, you're doing it wrong.
Take this move
like,
out of your repertoire.
Like, yeah. Like, she looks so sloppy doing it. Like, half the time she's landing on the person's wrong
Don't you
side.
think she's doing it on purpose, though? Like, I almost...
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I was joking about it, but, like, I think she wants to get cut so she can move on. And WWE's holding her back, saying, like, hey, she's the golden child. You know, she's got the lineage. Like, fuck, move on. Like, she doesn't have it. If she was in AEW, yes, she'd be great. But she'd still be the big fish in the little pond type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to give a quick just note on the Naomi Shayna stuff. I love that that they're in a storyline that doesn't involve the title, and it's staying strong and it's staying relevant, and I just love what Naomi's doing. I'm just excited to see how that plays out. And I think that WWE has been criticized in the past for not having enough storylines with the women that don't involve the title specifically. They don't seem to have a mid-card for the women. And so I think that this Naomi, Sonya, Shayna thing is kind of perfectly encapsulating and keeping those people relevant.
Well, yeah,
we talked about Naomi last time when she was in the Love feud or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, with Mandy Rose. And we were happy that they had a mid-card for the women.
Yeah. What were you saying, Beard?
No, I was just going to say, you're right, because I really want to see Sonya get her face beat in. And, like, they've made me... I don't have a personal reason to hate her, right? But they've made me, as far as a viewer, want to see her get her comeuppance. I'm
sorry
against that.
But when... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're okay. I was just going to say I do have a personal thing against Adam Pearce, and I loved seeing his desk get stabbed by Drew McIntyre, who I think
with his sword.
His sword, yeah.
But I don't know, when Sonya Deville came out and for her match and she stripped off and had that like little S&M thing going on, it's pretty solid.
Kev was entertained. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's all I wanted to get out. I was like, all right, there it is.
Yeah, I just like that it's happening. But I guess the big stuff on SmackDown though was Roman Reigns turning on Paul Heyman, punching him in the damn mouth, saying you're fired. Brock Lesnar comes out, lumberjack and all, and
I like
Paul
it.
Heyman.
I liked it because everyone was expecting Paul Heyman to turn on Roman, and this is where we're at, and they threw a fucking wrench in everyone's system when it came to that.
I agree. I was expecting to see a lot of this go down on day one, actually, and was surprised that we got to see it play out on Smackdown. I loved it. It was cool. I thought the whole thing was fun. Yeah, the way he did it, the way he got out on the other side of the vehicle, like, I was for it. Like, I thought it was good.
And then, like I said, I like that everyone thought that Paul was going to turn on Roman. And Roman said, no, I'm going to do the exact opposite. Thank you for your service. You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. And then Brock came out and said, hey, that's my advocate. And I liked it. It was a nice swerve.
Yeah, I liked the line, you know, I'm not protecting him from you, I'm protecting you from him. I think there's a big part of me, and I said it in a chat earlier as soon as it happened, that I think that this is all a big trap, more or less, that the way
It's
the
a
hug
smudge,
was,
like,
yeah, that Paul Heyman's going to be a factor in their match to cost Brock Lesnar the match, that he's going to turn on Brock when everyone thinks he's back with Brock and really show how the bloodline is thicker than blood, kind of a deal, and that we could potentially... But, I mean, either way, whether they do or don't, it's fucking phenomenal the way it's coming around and the way that you can see so many... They don't have to go that way, but they can go that way. Like, this is an on-your-feet kind of storyline, which I think is just fucking great. Grim Reaper does say Roman Reigns... Grim Reaper does say, real quick, we'll go to you, Kev. Roman Reigns needs to continue his hot heel streak. I think that having Roman use Paul to cheat against Brock and steal the win by punching Paul, I think continues a heel streak. I don't think that it dissuades it. So, what were you going to say, Kev? And then we'll go to
I was just going to say, it to me, it's, like you said, the swerve before the swerve. Like, you know,
yeah.
It could go either way at this point. Well, you think Paul's in Brock's corner, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, it's not. You know, blood's thicker than water type of thing, and I think that makes it very captivating.
Yeah.
Do you think that Brock really too is kind of the baby face in this whole thing? Even though it's Brock and he's for the past, for the fans is, I think, kind of a baby face. For this scenario, I do kind of think, though, because like Marsh and I were talking about how, I mean, they could have done weeks of that Brock and Sammy stuff. I would have just loved it. It was so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was great. But I think it is like it brings Brock down to like reality, and you know. This could be us.
Now he's the everyman, right? He looks like a farmer with his overalls and the cut off sleeves. No, don't forget that he's the massivest, most like the alpha male of our species, is the GOAT, Pat McAfee would say. I'm just saying, like, they have kind of like humanized Brock a bit. You know what I'm saying? And he looks, honestly, like when he was doing the promo stuff, he looks like he's having a lot of fun. So.
Well, it's giving him personality that he hasn't had before. And it's great.
Yeah, I like it. And Marsh said something to me, or maybe last episode, where it's like, you put something out on Twitter about it, maybe, or Instagram, where it's like, you know, Lesnar learned all this like manipulative shit from Paul Heyman. So now like he gets to kind of pay it forward by doing like excellent promo work, etc. Storyline and stuff. So anyway, I really enjoyed it, and because I liked that we got Brock at day one. That wasn't supposed to be the case, and so I don't know. Yeah, it makes it intriguing. I'm excited to see it actually.
Yeah, I agree. I love the way this ended too, because it could go any which way. Greenberg does say Heyman turning on Roman would just put that out. Oh, so he thinks that Heyman has to turn on Brock to keep the heel heat going with Roman, and I could see that. Yeah.
Because this is the first time in a while that Brock has the crowd behind it.
Yeah, the baby face, like I said.
Outside of the pop of holy shit, Brock's here. there's people behind him saying, "Hey," and I'm
Like
one of
this
them.
guy.
Yeah, he's showing personality. He's different. You know, cool. Let's go. I'm on board. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything on SmackDown you think we're missing? You definitely want to talk about, or we talk about Raw just for a few minutes? Either of you?
Me?
Anything?
Yeah.
Either of
Yeah.
I
I'm
didn't
good
watch
to-
Raw.
You know.
Is there SmackDown this week?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yes. Same
There
like
is.
every week.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
there-
pre-recorded it though, and what we are getting on that one is we are getting Tony versus Charlotte for the title. Do you think it's possible for Christmas they give us the greatest gift of all, which is taking that title off of Charlotte and putting it on Tony Storm?
They won't. I'm not watching it.
Fuck
They
it.
fucking should.
They should, right?
Yeah.
That would be a cool Christmas gift.
It'd be the greatest gift of all. Put that title on Tony Storm and send
Stock my
Charlotte packing.
stocking and give it to me.
Yeah. Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
Give me what I want. Yeah, give me what I want.
That's a Batista promo you may have missed, Beard Sports. We'll send it to you.
No, that's cool. I love Batista, by the way. I did miss it. I don't know it. I'm not familiar with it.
I'll send it to you because you got to see it. He forgets his line. He's talked about it. He forgets his line and just starts screaming, "Give me what I want," over and over again until Triple H says, "Are you saying you want a match at Mania?" Because he doesn't know where to take it. And he's like slobbering on the mic because he's just like he's like frustrated. He can't remember his lines. So he's like, "Give me what I want," and you just see spittle everywhere. It's a great one. I'll send it to you.
He's awesome actor too. I highly recommend the new. If you're a fan of Blade Runner, if you haven't seen the new one, 2032, he's in that. It's so good. And there's like a cartoon prequel that goes to that. It's really cool. And I think he voices a character in it. So
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Kev, did you get a chance to watch Raw?
Yes. Of course.
I love everything going on with Kevin Owens. I'm so happy that we signed him. He's fucking perfect at everything he does.
I still want the Fight Kevin fight shirt.
I'll just make you
And we're
one,
gonna
dude.
tweet it. I'm gonna tweet him tonight and say, "Hey, I want a legit WWE merchandise Fight Kevin fight."
No, can you please put
For all
out a
the
shirt that
Kevs
says
out there.
Kevin anywhere?
Not even that Fight Kev fight. Cool. Let's go.
Right.
I will buy
do it.
one of those shirts if
Yeah, I think we all will.
I just
All right.
and I will even
Let's-
go
let's-
sleeveless.
Yeah.
Let's start the
Solidarity.
movement. Let's go.
Yeah, I will. If you get it done, Kev, I will be in line to buy one.
Yeah. For solidarity purposes.
Right, so there's
absolutely.
2 sold shirts. We need about 200 more.
Yeah, we got people.
But not from WrestlingTees.com. I won't buy that shirt.
No, WWE shop only. It's non-compromised.
I'll hit every Kevin that I know and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
buy
Hey,
this fucking
it's
shirt."
happening. It's happening.
We're fighting as a
Yeah.
Kevin's. Let's go.
I will say though, Beard, if you wanted to check out a few things that were spectacular, Bianca Belair had a match against Doudrop, which was pretty impressive.
I saw highlights.
Really cool. The way she got the KOD on Doudrop was very impressive, and I was a bit annoyed at the amount of IWC that was trying to undermine it. Like it wasn't that impressive of a feat, and I was like, I want to see any of you jabronis pick up Doudrop and drop her on her face.
That match was. I watched the match. It was good.
good.
Did you see? Speed?
I'll pick up Dewdrop and put her on your face.
Okay, Kev, what was that, Beard?
So speaking of Doudrop, and did you see that WWE had filed the naming rights for Piper Niven? And they
I read a thing about that.
I hope they do ditch the Doudrop name. I don't. I think it's dumb.
I will say
And I
this.
hope they bring back her as a baby face or maybe even a bigger heel. I don't know. I think she's an effective heel, but the problem is it seems like because of her size and maybe ability in the ring, there aren't a lot of women she can wrestle with like effectively, and that's why we've seen a lot of Bianca Belair. What do you think of that? I mean, it just feels like because that whole storyline felt kind of forced, and I mean it was something for Bianca to do to not be a part of the title thing because she's not been now. since she's not been champion, which never made sense, kind of how they did it, but I get it now. They wanted to get back to Liv Morgan or whatever, but
yeah,
you know, like, do you feel like maybe that's the case why we're seeing a lot of Doudrop / Bianca Belair? Because I don't think there's a lot like who could wrestle Doudrop.
I think for one, yeah, I do think that they could do a lot with Doudrop being a force before getting to a match like this. Like they really could have done Zelina and Doudrop once or twice and just make Zelina absolutely terrified and just manhandled. And then you could even do one with Doudrop and Rhea and have Rhea not quite able to put a big move on Doudrop, but still maybe get the win. You could then do even a Liv and Doudrop, or maybe Doudrop gets a win over and just kind of offsets Liv. And then you get to a Bianca who's able to do a dominant move like this, and you go, holy shit, Bianca did it? Because those other ones couldn't, right? So I do think that they could have done it a little. I do think that part of this, though, is keeping Bianca hot, keeping Doudrop hot. I think they're keeping I think they're keeping Bianca warm because I think at any given moment, she's like a Kevin Owens or a Seth Rollins now. She's a believable main eventer and former champion that at any given moment can say, I've had enough, I want my title shot, and be back in that picture, you know?
You're talking about Bianca?
Yeah, Bianca.
Okay.
And I think that, yes, we want to see her constantly fighting for the title, but there's something to be said for other people fighting for the title and leaving a window open for Bianca to come back through. You know what I mean? You
don't get to be 14-time by just retaining it all the time, right? So yeah, and you don't be 14-time by only going between one person. Like you can't have Becky and Bianca for the next 7 months, you know. So I think it leaves the window open. I think it's been cool in that regard. Balor and Austin Theory I liked more than I thought I would, but you guys were both saying you liked Miz and Edge, and I wanted to get a little bit on that before we wrap it up. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought the promo work was awesome. Like, I thought Edge just basically said to Miz, like, you're a bitch and you never shut up, and that's why you're not respected.
That's pretty good.
It was funny. It was great. And Edge is awesome. Like, I was a fan of Edge and Christian when they were in the Attitude Era. They were kind of like that. It was like they were like right off the Blade casting room floor, right? Those two, the way they made them look and stuff. Like the WWE did a really good job back then of like introducing new characters. They happened to go with like trendy things that were going on at the time. But like, so I was never like, oh, that guy's awesome or whatever. I liked him. But when like I watched like him coming back for Royal Rumble and just kind of like the whole storyline about him and his wife and behind the scenes there, I was like, man, I really appreciate this guy as who he is as a person. And so now like it's just fun to see. I know he's kind of on his last ride thing. Like it's the Michael Jordan thing where the last ride, we know this is it. We're not going to go. And so I'm just trying to soak in and enjoy all the promo work he's doing. And I they kind of did away with the Seth Rollins thing, which I think was equally good because that felt a little maybe beyond toxic because there's personal shit, it sounds like, in the actual Twitter sphere between that Rollins and them. You guys could speak on it more. I think Marsh is the one that told me, but like I just feel like I mean, you asked me why I liked it and I just am enjoying it for those reasons. So
I love it. I love that that's your reason. Kev, what are you loving about Edge and Miz?
Nothing.
Really? I'm like so static on it.
Yeah, it's so hit or miss with me. Like I like that they're going at it fine, cool, and then they're bringing up other things. They're bringing up Maurice and, oh, I'm a mother now, don't hit me, and it's just to me, it's feeling,
I love that part. I love that he got it. I love that Edge got the Miz to like get in trouble with his wife. So that is awesome, and that's gonna.
But they just said it was just a ploy.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just falling flat for me.
I don't think it's just a ploy. Why would they do it? They're gonna play. This is gonna come into play one or two more times where the Miz somehow puts his wife in harm's way, and then like because he totally did like try to use his wife as a human shield against Edge, which is hilarious and just makes him like even worse as a heel. I don't know. I actually enjoyed it. Like I think, I'm actually sad for you guys if you didn't like it.
Well, so Maurice was on Edge's show and they both turned on Edge, and so it was kind of one of those like, hey, she wasn't actually mad at him, so they did kind of play it up as a ploy. I would say I wonder if mine and Kev's issue is a little bit of Miz exhaustion. I know he hasn't been on TV for a while, but the last number of his feuds have been with legends who he says, you guys didn't respect me back then, and you should. So maybe it feels a little too replayed for us while it's still fresh for you.
You've seen it a bunch, whereas I have not. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, because I feel like that when I keep hearing his promos, I was like, look, I know he's good at this, but I also feel like I keep seeing him do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fair argument. Yeah, like if for someone like me hearing you say that, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is played out. He's done it before, so it feels like old hat to you guys. Where I'm back new and I really don't have a lot of Miz experience. I don't even know. Yeah, he was definitely not around in the Attitude Era. And apparently nobody noticed him when he first started off. That's what he's so butthurt about with Edge. So I don't know. Like I know I've heard that done by other wrestlers too, though, right? Like this, that whole shit. You didn't like me when I first got here.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you, dude. Like,
and I know they'll have a good match, but I don't see like Edge winning over Miz or Miz winning over Edge makes either one of them seem more important or anything.
Well,
I think it's a little just staticky to me. Not that I think it's gonna be bad. I think it'll be good. I just don't know that I feel like I'm invested.
Well, but if this is Edge's swan song, he's maybe going to wrestle like the top guys before he goes, and then just he's gone, right? So
maybe
we're getting the Miz, and we'll probably get Randy Orton or something. You know what I'm saying? This maybe go back to Seth Rollins. I mean, I don't think they need to, but like but Kevin Owens or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if he's got 3 or 4 big matches left, and then he's going to be done, and he's not going to wrestle anymore because of physical reasons or whatever. They might be just building to him doing such a thing without us as the fans supposed to be knowing, right? I feel like that's kind of how I was looking at it. It's like
yeah, but see, then I would rather see an Edge and Kevin Owens than an Edge and Miz, because Edge and Miz also were in a rivalry back when Edge's first run. Like I just would rather see the Kevin Owens, the Finn Balor's, the Seths like he did. When he first came back, he had a big rivalry against Randy Orton, which was cool. But yeah, I don't know that I want to. I think Miz is just a little staticky to me, where maybe he's just staying safe for a month while he's recouping some other kind of injury, because we know Miz is a safe worker and a great wrestler. But I'm more excited for whatever's next, I think, to be honest, because hopefully it's like a Kevin Owens, like you said. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. Sorry, my wife's being goofy. That's
all good. And then the last thing was Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Kev, I want to know what you think. What did you think about this Liv Morgan promo?
I thought it was solid.
I did too.
I wanted to be more behind it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think this. Let me tell you. So
sorry, go ahead.
I didn't think she did a bad job, but I did feel like she had a lot on her plate. I felt like she started to get in wrestling promo cadence. Like to help her remember her lines. And I felt like this was one of the times where we've been seeing her branch more and more away from what seemed to be scripted and felt more genuine. This one felt like so natural. Much that it felt less natural and felt more scripted, and that was my only problem with it. Was I thought she did a good job with what she had, but she could have done a better job with, and I don't even say this for everyone, she could have done a better job with a slight more freedom, because every now and again I think what broke it up was she would go a little off script and say something to the fans, and you could hear her tone change and then go back.
Do you think she was just nervous though?
Yes.
I just thought she was a little nervous is all. Like I heard the promo. I think I'm gonna watch the second half of this because all this stuff you're like whatever. So I must have watched the second half. There was 2 Monday night games on, and then there were 2 Tuesday. I mean, it's been insanity with the football rescheduling and stuff. So, but yeah, no, I liked it. You know, like again, it just feels like she's probably a bit nervous because this might be her one shot, and so I would be nervous if I was her too. I'd like to see her win, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, I would not have a problem with Liv winning, and I think Liv's doing a great job. I just felt like this is one they could have pulled back a little bit to make her a little more comfortable. Because, like, I think I agree with you. She came off a little nervous, but she's doing so fucking good. And I think that every promo she's had up until now is like, oh, this is why she belongs here. And this one, I was all like, your nerves are showing just a little bit. You know what I mean? But I love Liv. There's part of me that wants her to win this one too, and there's part of me that goes, I don't know, Becky Lynch forever. So I am torn. I'm definitely torn. But
I can see that.
Well,
Kev, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good? You anything else?
You
that
look like you want to take a nap. There, you're thinking about calling some dinosaurs, are you?
He's ready for the last call.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys want to throw out there? I just want to say those couple of things. I also like the back and forth between Becky and Liv. Like the content I thought was great. It was just that cadence. It was that cadence. I was like,
Well, it felt natural. Like just the natural fuck you type of thing.
Yeah.
Between them.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you thought we missed, Kev?
No.
Anything, Mr. Beard, that you wanted to make sure that we hit on?
No. Merry Christmas, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays.
Cheers to that.
Quick Merry Christmas to New Wave Coffee. If you're watching live, you've seen the promo code on the bottom of our screen this whole show. Flow State Coffee is specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for creativity and productivity. Gives you better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee while decreasing negative side effects like jitters and crash and anxiety and high blood pressure. If you go to newwave.co, NOOWAVE.co, and put in promo code CHEERS, you can get 10% off your first bag or just your whole order. If you decide to buy a dozen bags, you get 10% off that dozen. How many do you need to order before you get one free at 10%? 10? Is that how math works?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think your 11th would be the free one, right? So
the 11. Okay, so order 11 bags, put in promo code CHEERS, and one of those is going to be free. That's a fucking no-brainer.
if you want 11 bags of coffee right away.
Yeah, that's how you keep it fresh.
Right.
Sprinkle it everywhere. At that point, you're using coffee on everything.
I mean,
did you put coffee on top of the pizza? Yeah, it's just a little spicy.
Pizza coffee, always my favorite.
Goddamn.
It's always been my favorite. You know that about me. Why are you acting weird about it now? Yeah,
So
guys.
the first time.
Merry Christmas, happy birthday. We'll be back next week. There will
Whose birthday?
I don't know. Jesus.
It is Jesus' birthday.
Holiday hours of the dive bar of the IWC permits that we will be closed tomorrow. There will not be an episode 1 about AEW and NXT tomorrow night. But if you go and you follow my man TW Takes Podcast at TW Takes Podcast on Twitter or on his website, and if you buy from TW Takes Podcast /TWTees, that store's through Teesprings. Your credit card information is safe.
You know what's funny? While I was on here, I got a notification from AT&T that my phone number had been leaked.
Jesus. So
just literally like a few minutes ago. So yeah.
You're just like, son of a bitch, it's PWTees, I know it. But follow TW Takes because I do believe that because the dive bar is closed this week, that as a sister show, if you check out Terrible Takes Wrestling Podcast, it's only the episode 1. I'm going to be on there, and me and Bishop are going to recap a little bit of NXT strictly in his living room and not in our dive bar. So check that out. Otherwise, we're going to be back next week for the Boozy Awards. We're giving our end of the year boozies, where we're going to give out the Ref Marsh, the Kevlars, the beards. The bishops will be on. Yeah, the beards.
There's no beards.
There's
the
no
beard
beards.
is not giving out awards. He's
That's
going
true.
to be the host of the award show, and I'm not giving out.
That's true. Spoiler, MC of the evening will be Mr. Beard Sports himself, guest appearance MC, and Bishop will be on as well. And then the following night, we'll give out the AEW and NXT boozies. So come back, make sure you're liking, subscribe, and rating and all that stuff. But most importantly, enjoy your guys' family and your holidays, and enjoy your drinks and enjoy the company. It's not about what you're drinking, it's who you're drinking with. And we're glad that you're all our drinking buddies. Guys, we'll see you next week right here in the dive bar of the IWC. That's last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.